yeah, you're gonna decide. I just need to.
Hi, my name is Josh Alexandre. I'm the founder and CEO of InfoDocs. InfoDocs is an online platform for managing your company records or company secretarial requirements, as it is known in the industry. And basically we started InfoDocs to solve a problem of our own, mine and my dad's actually. So my dad is also in software. He has a product called Guest Review, which does feedback for hotels around the world.
Can you talk about before InfoDocs?
Okay, yeah, sure. So just tell us basically like what you were studying or
Maybe also the process.
To be honest, I always knew I was going to build a startup. From about the age of 12, I started making money doing random things. The first one was a series of discos in our small town in the Eastern Cape. Then in school there were lots of side hustles, t-shirts, movies, lots of things that taught me lots of the random skills that I now use today. Everything from designing posters, that's how I started with logos and fonts. Everything from making videos has become our marketing material. When I first started InfoDocs, I would have called myself a designer, and that design had bled over into kind of tech and designing apps and software. So I was at UCT for a year. Before that I was at Stellenbosch for a year, both times studying business or business management, something like that. And while at UCT, my dad, I think we just failed at another startup actually. So while I was at Stellenbosch or Stellies University, we were working on a student housing website. We were about 90% of the way done with the V1, with the site that was going to go live. I think I'd even negotiated the domain from some domain sitter. And we basically realized that the year was finishing. We had exams to write. I was going to be moving to UCT the next year, and we decided to call it quits and just be thankful for what we'd learned. And that was the first startup failure. There'd been many business failures before that. Many businesses where I'd lost money or hardly broken even. And I went to university to effectively recruit. I knew I wasn't going to finish the degree. In fact, if I finished the degree, it would be because I'd failed at building a startup while studying. So my dad came to me with a far more practical idea. He was managing this company in the UK called Guest Review, which owned the South African subsidiary that employed everyone here in South Africa. And which by and large was the corporate vehicle they were operating with. And in managing both of those companies, he obviously had to make sure that all of their compliance issues were sorted. And yet he was using a product in the UK which worked really well, called Inform Direct, and we took a lot of inspiration from them. There was no such product in South Africa. The government here, the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, otherwise known as CIPC, they do their best, and we're quite friendly with them these days. And so building a solution that augments their services, the government services, seemed like a really nice gap, a very practical solution to build. And everyone in that industry I spoke to would say this is a really good idea, it's just impossible. Right? Because this is the government we're talking about, you would have to deal with them, and how you would work with them would be really difficult. We have since moved mountains. So I came to Propeller in search of beta users. I know what an incubator is because every tech startup Googles around and searches for, knowledge and information. And so Propeller was the nearest incubator. I called probably Anita to ask if I could come and pitch her incubatees, the business owners, to try our product for the first time. And they managed to twist my arm and convince me to actually join a program. And as part of that program, they would give me 15 minutes of fame to pitch the other business owners. That worked really well. I met some really interesting business owners, got some invaluable early feedback. The most basic one was, in our original sign-up process, you had to give your ID number, and I was going to be really clever and use your ID number to identify you and offer all the companies that you're a director of, because we can see that. And the first time I asked someone to sign up, they put their hand up and said, "Do you really need my ID number?" And so we took that off the sign-up form. You actually don't have to give your ID number at all. For me, the real aha moment was when I think we just had a board meeting, my dad and I, and realized that we were running out of money, and having been bootstrapping the company for about 1.5 years by then, it was really worrying that we might have to call it quits because we were going to run out of money. And just that day I got a call from Anita at Propeller to say, "We have just been given the green light on some funding. Do you need funding, and can we help you?" And that was really big for us. That actually bought us the runway to get from where we were at the time, which was our first few paying customers, to profitability. So with that little bit of grant money that we were given, thanks to Propeller and thanks to CEDA or whoever made that available, we were able to get the company to profitability, which meant we were able to start reinvesting profits and grow on our own dime.
That's so cool. Okay, so the final question is what are the words that you live by to kind of help you through any kind of achievement?
I've got quite a few of these. I read a lot and listen to lots of books and podcasts. It gets harder as you get busier, but I've learned a lot of really useful quotes and sayings, and different ones have gotten me through different periods, I suppose. One of the most universal, one of the most kind of sustainable pieces of advice that I've been given, I was actually given when I was very young. It was when I was first taught what sin was. And as a kid I was thinking, so if I have a bad thought, I'm sinning, right? And at that age, my brain was going crazy with thoughts, and I went to my father and I said, I'm so screwed. I sin all the time. And he said, "What do you mean?" I told him, I said, thoughts occur to me all the time, and apparently that's bad, that's sinning. And he laughed at me, at my kind of naivety, and said, "Don't worry, my son, God judges us on attitude and motive." And those were really words to live by, because those are two things within your control. Your attitude and your motive, those are things that you can really dig deep and hold on to. And so I've always questioned attitude and motive. And when you find something solid, and you can really build on that.
Oh,
That was good.
I like that.
I also.
Cool.
I really, really like it. Are you happy?
I'm happy.
See, I am a DJ. Hey, this is all advice that other people have given me.
You really are.